their vote will be cast. And I'm glad you want to talk about North Carolina. I'll leave the question to you on that. But I think we should talk about that because we need the American public to rise up and say that every single vote needs to count. And what's happening in North Carolina right now is just absolutely unconscionable.
Well, as we go into North Carolina, also we see in Wisconsin and Michigan where the Republicans lost the governorship and attorney general, and now the legislators are, which are still the legislators that were in office before the election and don't leave until January, they're actually trying to change and limit the power of those officers in those states that was fine with them when they were Republicans in charge. But all of a sudden now in Wisconsin, they want to redo and limit the powers of the governor.
Yeah, I mean, it's Wisconsin, it's Michigan. Those are my neighboring states. I'm from Illinois, and so this is going on in the Midwest. Not to mention, look what happened in Georgia. And you know, I'm so proud of Stacey Abrams, a close friend of mine. So proud of how she stood up and she's doing a shout out about this is not okay. And let's look at what is going on in North Carolina right now. We have a Republican, Mark Harris, who claims to have won this race for the U.S. House of Representatives against a former Marine, Dan McCready. And here's what's going on. The campaign
this
of
is
Mark
in
Harris.
North Carolina.
Correct. In North Carolina, so Mark Harris hired this guy who's a convicted felon who was going door to door and getting absentee ballots, handling these absentee ballots, and either the allegation is that either the votes were changed on those, or if they were voting for the Democrat, they were getting thrown away. And Reverend, they were focusing on elderly African American people,
right,
and robbing them of their vote. And so you know, we've got to get of this.
So the atrocity here, I want our viewers to be clear. You have Mark Harris, a minister, running as a Republican, that someone was going around collecting absentee ballots door to door, which does not happen, by the way, taking people's ballots, and the allegation is that he was in some way changing the vote or filling them in or tossing them if they were voting Democratic. There's nothing more blatant in terms of voter fraud than doing this, but we haven't heard anything from the president who wanted a voter fraud commission.
Well, of course not. The radio silence out of the White House on this. But look, we've got more than a dozen people on the ground right now from the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee. We have lawyers. We have field experts. We now have people going door to door and finding out what happened here. We'll get to the bottom of this. And my message to anybody in the 9th Congressional District of North Carolina is that we are there for the long haul. We will get to the truth. And if anybody's votes were robbed from them, we will correct this, and we will make sure that their votes are counted, even if that gets to having another election against Dan McCready, the Democrat, the Iraq War veteran, who is running against this minister who is alleged to have used this convicted felon to rob people of their votes. We will get to the bottom of it.
I understand 2 people have come forth saying that they, in fact, helped collect these ballots. So
that's correct.
This is not just something somebody's throwing out there. There are actually people saying they participated in this.
That's correct, and we have signed affidavits about people who have said that they've collected these absentee ballots in an unethical, in fact, illegal manner. And, you know, I mean, it's just, again, it's unconscionable to think that this Republican, Mark Harris, and this team that he hired to bring in are robbing people democratic right, and that's democratic as in large D democratic. This isn't even a partisan matter. It is a matter of making sure that someone's vote counts, that people's votes count, and that you know, that we live in this greatest country in the world, and democracy matters, and we'll make sure that we get to the bottom of this and we get to the truth.